What do you do when everything falls apart and instead of breaking, you build? I'm Charlene Wheeless, your host on this episode of Underrated to Unstoppable. I sit down with Anne Marie Chaker, journalist, author, and the voice behind Reclaiming Strong. After losing her job at the Wall Street Journal, facing postpartum depression, and enduring deep personal loss, Anne Marie found power where most people find pain, in starting over. We talk about lifting weights as a path to healing, the myth of bounce back culture, and how muscle, literally and emotionally, became her foundation. She also shares the moment in a motel gym that changed everything. And of course, the question at the heart of it all, when did you know you were enough? Let's get into it. So what led you to write your book? So you were a journalist, obviously.
So I
Yeah.
did a few years ago at the Journal, I did a piece about kind of my midlife crisis. It was
Uh-huh.
about how kind of the shit had hit the fan in my life and all the terrible things happened this one year. I was dealing with postpartum depression after my baby, and
Mhm.
I found my father dead,
Oh my
and
gosh.
husband
Uh-huh.
left me. All of this happened like within weeks. It was a
Mhm.
nightmare. I'd never been much of a drinker, but I started
Mhm.
just having a little glass of wine to take the edge off before going to bed at night.
Mhm.
And that turned into like a full glass. And then that turned
Right.
into two glasses. And then by the time I was like drinking all the time.
Right.
Um, I was just kind of headed, I was just in an unhealthy way.
Mhm.
And I didn't like the way I looked. I didn't like the way I felt. And I was coaching my daughter's ice hockey team at the time, and I took her to a tournament, and we were staying at a hotel, and
Mhm.
in this dinky motel,
Right.
there was a fitness room.
Mhm.
So I went into the fitness room for some odd reasons. I wasn't going to a gym.
Mhm.
Um, and I saw this hockey mom in there who was lifting weights and pulling bands and doing all this stuff I'd never seen before, and she looked amazing.
Mhm.
She was obviously into some sport. And I went up to her and I said, "You look amazing. I look terrible. Like, what is your story?" And she said, "Oh, I do, bikini competitions." And I thought that's really weird. But I wanted to know more.
Right.
And she said, "Yeah, it's the sport of bodybuilding, and I have a coach, and I do these weekly check-ins and my nutrition, and I track macros." And it sounded really intense. But I was, like, give me the name of your coach and I'll reach out to her. She said, "Oh
Mhm.
yeah, she does like, nutrition counseling and stuff. Like you don't have
Right.
to be a bodybuilder to work with her." So when I
Mhm.
got home, I emailed this woman and I started doing, online coaching with her once a week.
Mhm.
And, you know, fixed my nutrition. I started eating better. I joined a gym, checking in with this woman every week. And like I naturally stopped drinking just because I felt great.
Right.
And
You felt better.
like I started wearing lipstick again. I started
Mhm.
online dating. Like my work got better. Like everything got better. I was lifting weights regularly and I was just eating well, like normal
Mhm.
food. And I was eating more. Like I was
Right.
eating more, but not like junk. I was eating
Mhm.
plenty good food. So after like a couple years of this coach was like, "You should enter a bodybuilding competition. You put on muscle really easily and you should do this." And I was like, "No, no, no, that's so dumb. Like fake tans, like that's not my jam."
Mhm.
And then I was just kind of like, "Who do you think you are?" Like, I was like, "Why not? Like, I'll do
Right.
it and I'll write about it for the journal and it'll be like
Mhm.
a lark and it'll get a lot of attention." So I ended up doing it. I placed really well at the thing. I
Mhm.
won my pro card.
Wow.
I wrote a story about it for the journal, and the story was this huge viral hit. And it led to this book deal for
Mhm.
Penguin Random House. And so I've been working on this book for like 4 years and finally finished it. And
Wow.
yeah.
Why did it, I don't want to say why did it take so long as though that's a super long time because I know it takes people a long time to write
It
books.
takes,
But
yeah,
what was it for you?
that is such a great question. it just takes a lot, especially if you have a full-time job,
Oh,
it's really
absolutely.
hard. Yeah, like
Mhm.
the thing with writing books, like I was like, oh, I got this. Like I write for a living, I write
Mhm.
articles, like I'll be able to do this, no problem. It'll just be like a long article.
Right.
Like it is like a whole different animal. You
Mhm.
have to like be really focused
Right.
on long stretches of time. I
Mhm.
am almost certain that I have like ADHD. I never thought I did before, but it was like through the process of this book, I was
Mhm.
like, I'm sure I must have ADHD.
Right.
Like
A lot of
it is,
adults do actually, and we don't know.
yeah.
I have it. I have
I
it. Got
I think we
diagnosed.
all figured out
Yeah.
we have it during COVID because
Right.
it's really distracting having to work from home and we realize like we're around so many distractions. I just have a hard time sitting for long stretches of time.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah, so and it's also hard to get started. Like I've realized this for my keynote, like having to write my keynote, like when you have a
Right.
blank page, it's like,
Hmm.
oh. So that
Yeah.
whole like, oh
Start with
thing.
this. I always say start with a story, right? Start with a
Yes,
story, hook people in,
absolutely.
and then you can go with the direction that makes sense for you.
I love that. I
Hmm.
love that. Start with the story.
Hmm.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it took a long time. Just because it was mostly weekends, having to give up a lot of weekends just to like
Right.
work on this. Like it's like having a second job. So
Hmm. Yeah, when I wrote my book, in it came out in 2021, and I had not planned on writing a book. It wasn't something that that I longed for to always write a book. And mine is a mini memoir. And what's funny is it took me about 2 months to write my book. Now, I didn't have a full-time job at the time, and I carved out time for when I was going to right. And I have some friends who've also written books, and they're like, oh my gosh, it took me 3 years to write my book. How did it take you 2 months? And it was one of those things where I didn't know it was supposed to take me so long. So it only took me 2 months. But if I had known that it was hard, then I think it would have taken me a lot longer.
that's so interesting.
It's like sometimes ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe if you had known, it would have allowed you to kind of do that whole rigmarole. And
Right, right.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I also felt like I just had a lot to say, right? And so it just kind of came pouring out of me, you know.
What what was your memoir about, if I can
So
ask?
it's I'll tell you a very long title, and that'll tell you everything about the book. It's called You Are Enough: Reclaiming Your Career and Your Life with Purpose, Passion, and Unapologetic Authenticity.
I love that.
Yeah.
I
So
love that.
yeah, so it's just all about, um, losing yourself in the pursuit of perfection. And then when you're faced with, you don't know who you are, maybe you don't like who you've become, and how do you reclaim your life? How do you get it back? And I
Mm.
notice in your title, you have the word reclaim too.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell me about your book.
Yeah. So, like, my whole life, like, my ideal of beauty
Mhm.
was like this, I think for a lot of us, it's like
Mhm.
this thin ideal.
Right.
Thinness is it's in everything. It's
Mhm.
in the name of the crackers that we buy at the grocery
Right.
store. It's in the images of, the magazine. I remember being in seventh grade and picking up teen magazine. I love those teeny bop magazines.
Right.
And I don't know if you remember, but like they used to have these side by side pictures of two superstars wearing the same outfit and
Uh-huh.
who wore it
Get
best.
better. Yeah.
And I
Hmm.
could always predict who it was because before looking at the bottom of the page what the editor's
Hmm.
answer was, it was always the thinner one.
Right.
Always.
Hmm.
And, even as an adult, starting my career, I'd be riding the elevator and an editor might say, "Oh, those pants look good on you. They're really," and I knew like what it meant was like they made
Right.
me look thinner. Or, the soccer moms who are like the cool soccer moms on the
Right.
sidelines, they're always the thinner one. So it's just
Mhm.
like it's this constant message of like that is what beauty, that is what success is.
Right.
And I could never really attain it. I always had
Mhm.
kind of, I like to eat and I had enough left to build, and
Right.
like that was who I was. And
Mhm.
I didn't enjoy dieting.
Well, who does?
Does, right?
Right. Yeah.
Um, and it wasn't until I started lifting weights for real, like
Mhm.
really training and taking it seriously, that it was like a homecoming into my
Mhm.
body. It was like getting strong, feeding my muscles, like
Mhm.
all of this was like, this was what I was meant to be. And I performed so much better
Wow.
across all walks of life.
Mhm.
And it was like the journalist in me was like, this is my aha moment. Like, so it
Uh,
was like, okay, there's a reason for this,
mhm.
right? There's like a story here. And it made me want to dig into like, what the heck is the story of skinny? And like, why are we being forced to, you know, fit ourselves into this mold that isn't true? It isn't
Right.
right.
Well, it
And
isn't
as I dug
normal,
into
really.
what?
I said it isn't normal, really. I mean, some people
It's
are
not.
really
It's a
thin, but
false
most,
construct. And
right.
when I looked into the history and like the archaeology and the story, like early women, and there was this piece of research that really struck me. It was this archaeologist out of Cambridge came out with this study a few years ago that looked at the bones of early women.
Mhm.
And she found that they were actually the size of Olympic rowers today. So these
Uh,
women back
mhm.
then were buff badasses.
Right.
So what happened? Like, let's go back. That's the OG woman. That's what we
Right.
should be emulating, not like, this nonsense of the
Mhm.
last 50 to 100 years. So as I dug deeper into, there was all this evidence that like
Mhm.
women are so strong, like
Right.
our resilience is superior
Mhm.
to that of men. We live longer than men on
Mhm.
average across all cultures, across time. Women's lifespan traditionally has beat the male lifespan. I mean, our bodies are amazing. We bring life into this world. Like
Right.
we are buff and strong, and like there's every reason to believe that we should, be encouraging that. And if we encourage that,
Right.
then we live better lives.
Right.
And the whittling ourselves down to fit a small childlike mold, that's just a construct of,
Right.
men. It's
Mhm.
men who want to control us, who want
Mhm.
to keep us diminutive and controllable and in a childlike state. But the true female form is that OG buff badass woman of
Right.
eons ago. So
Mhm.
that's what I hope the book does. It makes women want to lift weights and take up more space and be
Mhm.
strong and be who they always were meant to be.
So did you know that when you started, or rather when you walked into that gym, when you were at that at the game, hockey, did you say it was with your daughter?
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you know when you walked into that gym that you were getting ready to change your life at
I don't
some level? Did you know
know.
that?
That's the crazy thing. Sometimes I think about that, and it's just like these micro moments in your life
Moments
can
that matter.
change the entire trajectory of your life. Like if I hadn't seen this random woman in a gym working out and being so struck by how strong and capable she looked, none of this might have ever happened. I think that's so
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah,
And
I think that somewhere, of course, we've just met, but I think that somewhere, maybe not in your mind, but I think somewhere in your body, you knew you were looking for something
mm,
that could, I don't want to say rescue you, but in a way, something that would allow you to rescue yourself because
oh,
you did it, right? It's not like, I always tell people that the Calvary is already here and it's you.
mm,
You just have to
mm,
figure that out. And so
mm,
there's, because I don't believe in happenstance, right? I don't believe in just things and, and my when I speak, my my mantra is it's choice, not chance, that changes your life.
Mm,
So, you made a choice to walk into that gym
mm.
and
Yes, yes.
you made a choice to talk to that woman, and that gave you whatever it was that you needed to
I
change.
love that. I
Hmm.
love that. I'd never thought of it that way. You're
Hmm.
absolutely right. It's like we seek what's in the universe,
Right.
that it's not all. It's we attract what is in us.
Right.
I love that idea.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you still, I mean, other than the book, are you still a journalist somewhere else, or what do you do?
So I freelance stories.
Okay.
Yeah, and right now I'm like really focused on bringing the book into the world.
Hmm.
Focused on, getting my speaking business going and working on some communication stuff. So
Right. Right. And so what's led you to want to speak? Is it because you wrote the book, or is it what's pulling you towards speaking?
I was so taken with this community of speakers that we're in. And everyone's a storyteller
Yes, you noticed that. Hmm.
from different walks of life. We're all from different walks of life, but we're all storytellers. And really, it's a different form of, I mean, journalism is storytelling. And
Right.
it's what I love about
Hmm.
journalism is telling stories and talking to people and, framing people's lives into stories. And that's really what speaking is. And I feel very deeply that like I have a story to share. Like I have
Hmm.
a point of view on something that a lot of people struggle with. And I genuinely want to bring my story into the world and show people how strong they really are
Yeah.
and how, it is within them
Right.
to make changes and to improve their lives. And I just, it's a different challenge because the way I've always communicated in the past was one-on-one conversation,
Right.
interviews,
Hmm.
subjects, and then I write a story
Hmm.
and the public reads it. But this is speaking to a public in a much more macro way, micro kind of macro, but it's a new challenge and it intrigues me.
Yeah.
So it's a stretch, and
Yeah.
that's what life is stretching yourself in ways that you never imagined. And
Right. Right. And so you had mentioned that so many people struggle, as you're talking about in your book. Tell me what struggles you're talking about.
yeah, I think it's we're both women, so we know what it is to multitask
Right.
and to put others' needs before ours
Mhm.
and to be hard on ourselves. And we do all of these things and we don't take care of ourselves.
Right.
Or if we do, we think it has to be, you know, a massage or getting our nails done or a big
Mhm.
vacation. Like it has to be like spending money,
Right.
right? Which
Hmm.
is, it's fine to do, like that's counts too. But I really think, I really want women to step into a stronger version of themselves,
Hmm.
which is to get a little bit uncomfortable every day, to push yourself past
Hmm.
some comfort level, that is self-care. Like every day I try to go to the gym
Hmm.
and I lift weights and I get a little bit uncomfortable. I break a sweat. I'm not like killing myself into like a
Right.
puddle of discomfort and like,
Hmm.
wreck, but I do make time for exercise and getting
Right.
uncomfortable and lifting. And for me, the power of it is it's like lifting for me, it's like an allegory, right? It's like when I lift the barbell, it's like me lifting all the crap.
Right.
all troubles,
Mhm.
everything that's bothering me, I'm like lifting it away.
Oh, that's
And there's real power in that.
mhm.
Um, so it gives me something in the immediacy, but it
Mhm.
also is building something for the long term. So it's just I would love to be able to share that with people and to find that within themselves. And muscle is such a valuable thing, you know.
Right.
It's it's a really a framework for a longer life.
Mhm. Who's your primary audience for speaking?
Um,
I know that's always so hard to answer, right? Especially when
right?
you have a universal message. It's very hard
Yeah.
to answer. Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think it could be women's groups,
Hmm.
but I also think it could be everybody could use a message of
Right.
strength
Hmm.
and pushing past comfort
Right.
and fighting this notion of
Hmm.
perfect and just kind of like getting dirty a little bit every
Yeah.
day to build a
Right.
better self. Like I think those are universal subjects that you know everyone can
Right.
benefit from. So
Yeah. What do you want people to um, think and feel after your keynote? And I know you're working on your keynote now, but you kind of
yeah.
have an idea, and usually in our minds, we know what we want people to take from it, whatever form it takes.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah. I want people to feel inspired, but not in a way like, oh, she is all that. And like, you know, I want people to feel like I can do that too. Like, you know, I'm very relatable. I'm a mom, I'm a working mom, I'm a single mom. Like, you
Mhm.
know, I want people to take from it that it is possible and I'm gonna do that too. Like
Mhm.
I'm gonna get strong. I'm gonna take care of myself. I can do that too. So
Mhm.
yeah.
What's the difference in your, for lack of a better word, attitude, but maybe I want to say more like approach to just yourself or your feeling about yourself from before you started lifting and eating better, and living the life you have now, you live now. What was the difference for you where you were before to where you are now?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think before I just felt lost. Like I just felt like I needed it was like needing stress relief.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just kind of looking to grab at whatever could maybe give me an immediate sense of comfort
Mm-hmm.
or stress relief, whether it was alcohol
Mm-hmm.
or a cup of coffee in the morning to get awake or, you know, the leftovers off my toddler's plate. Like that was what I would eat, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it was like, now I feel like I have much more confidence in
Mm-hmm.
like my knowing what is nutritionally sound. Like I know how
Right.
to meal prep. I know what to feed my family. I know it's not like I don't want the fries and the milkshake. Like, yeah,
Right.
like that's
Right.
pretty yummy. But I know like that's not going to be what sustains me in the long run. And probably
Right.
afterward, I'll
Mm-hmm.
feel kind of yucky. So I have more of that kind of long-term knowledge and confidence and
Right.
that, you know, fitness and wellness isn't what immediately feels good all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like building a life that sustains you. So,
Right. What did that feel like mentally, like the change? Because it sounds to me, just hearing you talk, that you had more than kind of a physical reinvention, that there's absolutely a mental, psychological piece to that as well.
yeah, it definitely feels like I'm knowledgeable.
Hmm.
And with that knowledge comes confidence.
Right.
And that gives me great comfort.
Hmm.
Um, and it's not to say I'm perfect. Like,
Right.
you can't do everything. Like my laundry isn't done, and like, I have a kid who's homesick. My countertops are messy, but you know, I do have like an overall sense of like with food and nutrition that I
Mhm.
know what I'm doing, and
Right.
it is a priority in my
Mhm.
life and in my family's,
Mhm.
life.
Right. So it sounds like that, for lack of a better word, that's kind of your control mechanism, right? Your foundation. And I don't mean that negatively, like your
No, like a foundation. Yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
all need that, that foundational border
Yeah.
that, that just helps us make sense and create the life that we want versus the life that we can end up with if we just kind of go through life without taking charge of it. Right?
Totally.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And,
Yeah.
different, it's like for me, it's like putting the oxygen mask on for
Hmm.
yourself when you're in a plane. Like,
Right.
I have had to really kind of restructure my life so that I am putting the oxygen mask on for me.
Right.
And then
Hmm.
everyone else kind of benefits from
Right.
that.
What a great strength story for your daughter to witness, right?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think whenever I have two girls as well, and I
Okay.
think whenever we can show them strength and independence, we're doing great. Although I will say that my oldest daughter, her now husband, she got married in October. Her now husband has said to me, did you really have to raise her to be so independent? And my youngest daughter, that she's not with him anymore, but she had this boyfriend, and we were all at dinner one night, and he leans over to me and he says, how can I get her to do what I want her to do? And, I just looked at him and I said, well, first off, you're talking to the wrong person, right? I said, because I don't do anything I don't want to do. And it really doesn't matter whether my husband wants me to do it or not. And then I said to him, I said, what's wrong with you that you need to drive her? Right. And he just looked at me and he said, this relationship isn't going to work out, is it? I said, I give it 2 weeks.
Wow.
So
Wow, that's pretty intense.
yeah, yeah. Well, he started it. I was like,
Sure.
okay, you asked
Yeah.
that question. And, I grew up with a single mother and in an abusive household. And so my mother ultimately left my father. I'll save you a long torch story. But and I had three older brothers, but the one thing she just committed to was that she was not going to raise a daughter that was dependent. Right, because she had to stay in that relationship for 20 years because she didn't have a choice.
Right.
And so I think when we see things like when my mother left my father, even though then she lived a life of working two jobs the whole time, and she actually never saw her 60th birthday. But, and like your daughter seeing you become this strength, I think that really cements something into our girls, especially that they can take care of themselves.
Absolutely. It's actually important for me
Hmm.
that they see their mom. Like I have a little gym set up in the
Hmm.
basement. So sometimes if I don't make it to the gym, I'll just pull my weights out and have a
Hmm.
barbell down there and stuff. And I just think it's really good for them to see
Hmm.
their mom like muscular and lifting
Right.
weights and
Right.
being kind of badass. And
Hmm.
sometimes initially I remember when my one daughter was little, she would kind of pick up weights and imitate, and
Uh,
I'd say, no, 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 honey, you're gonna hurt yourself. No, no, no.
uh,
And then I was like, actually, don't do that. Like, let her
right.
pick them up and she's not going to hurt herself. Like she would
Mhm.
start, kind of, didn't last very long but it was good for her to know, like, actually, like, this is for her too. And if she wants to like
Mhm.
start learning how to use them, it's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're in a much better place. I'm happy for you there.
Thank
And
you.
you're
Thank-
charting your own path, which is very
Yes.
exciting.
It's very exciting. The beauty of this is that, I really think our stories are what's gonna save us. The
Right.
way things are going,
Mm.
AI, all
Right.
these jobs,
Hmm.
they're all so replaceable. But
Right.
nobody can replace your story, your
Right.
experience, your life learnings, that belongs to you.
Mhm.
And if there's a way you can share it and impart your wisdom and help others, man, that's a great thing. So
Right. And all our stories are unique to us. So,
they are.
what is one of your favorite stories to talk about? Do you have one?
You know, um, you asked a question. What was the question you asked? Like, be prepared to talk about
When did you know that you were enough?
when did you know you were enough? Yeah. Yeah, I have a couple. One is I remember uh, the second time I competed, I was really proud of how I placed, and my kids came, my mom came, and they were in the audience. And after, I won in my class, and I
Mhm.
came to see them, and I hugged them, and I had these medals around my neck, and people were saying, good job or congratulations or whatever. And and I'm all like ripped and wearing the
Right.
sparkly bikini and the fake tan and the big makeup and the big hair and all of it. And my
Mhm.
daughter kind of hugged me and she was like, saying, I forget how she said it exactly, but she was like, but you were already pretty great, something along
Oh,
those
that's really
lines. And
sweet.
like, I thought that like
Hmm.
I didn't need to get all ripped and wear the sparkly blue eyeshadow and the bikini
Hmm.
fake tan. Like for her, and I'm her mom, and I was already pretty great. And I thought
Hmm.
that was cool. I was already enough, in other words.
Yeah. Oh, that's really great. It's I can only imagine, and please correct me if I'm wrong because I don't want to misspeak, but I can only imagine that when you were going through your downtime, that with postpartum depression, which is horrible, and the other things that you were dealing with, there's a tendency for us to fall into this trap of just a lack of self-belief, right? If others don't believe in us, then for some reason we start to not believe in ourselves. But what I think was beautiful about your story is you, even if you had that, you came back and believed in yourself the moment you walked into that gym. Right. And I just think that's really cool. Now, again, I don't want to say you lacked self-belief before because I don't know that to be true. So I don't want to put words in your mouth on that. But I think it's when we can really show self-empowerment and self-leadership, without being nudged by someone else, but internally. I think that's always a turning point.
Absolutely. And when you were saying that, it struck me that I feel like as women, we're conditioned to be humble and
Mhm.
to be a good girl, like if
Right.
someone gives us a compliment, or for me, I don't know about you, for me,
Mhm.
like someone would often say something, give me a compliment, and I would be like, oh, but like
Right.
I would try to
Mhm.
flip it and do this humble thing.
Mhm.
And it was, I think it wasn't until like I joined Impact 11 and really saw these speakers on the stage.
Mhm.
They're not humble.
Right.
They're not humble.
No, not at
They're
all.
stage. They're on the stage and they're telling their story and they're big and they're loud and they're proud. And I thought, this whole humble thing, I've got to stop that. I've got
Right.
to that does not serve us. As women, we've got to stop doing that.
Hmm.
If somebody gives us a heck yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Yes, I'm a badass. I'm a
Hmm.
bodybuilder. I'm a freaking Wall Street Journal reporter. I'm a journalist. I'm an author. Like, own it. Own it.
Exactly.
My mantra for 2025 is to stop that nonsense. It
Right.
does not serve you. It
Hmm.
does not serve any of us. And it's
Yeah.
not our fault. We've been conditioned to do it.
Right. Oh, absolutely. My husband is a PK, a preacher's kid. And so they are taught, humility
Yeah.
from the get-go.
Yeah.
And he always tells me that he's really surprised with me because, I don't walk around like I'm the best thing since sliced bread, but I do think that humility is overrated. And he says
Totally overrated.
yeah, and he says to me, you have this interesting way of talking about yourself where it sounds to me like you're bragging, but other people are taking it in and they're not receiving it that way. And I said, because that's not how I'm intending it, right? I'm not talking about things because I want someone to be envious of me. I'm talking about it because I'm sharing it,
Yes.
which is different. But I do think that women do themselves a disservice by being so humble, right?
It's interesting what you just said, what he
Mhm.
said. I see you. I don't know you well. We've
Mhm.
just met, but I see you as a very confident and articulate woman. You come across that way, but it's definitely not from the I'm over here. And it's
Right.
very much about your vibe is one about sharing and bringing the other person in. Um, it's a gift, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a long time coming.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
absolutely a long time coming because I
Yeah.
spent most of my life um, just wondering if I would ever measure up, right? And measure up to what? I don't know,
Mm.
but I started my life in the ghettos of Oakland, California, and so everything I've done, it's not that I haven't had um, people help me along the way because you never get anywhere on your own. Um, but I've had more people tell me what I can't do than what I can do, and I don't think that that's unusual for women, and particularly for women of color. And it's just, when I was 53, I was diagnosed with two different types of cancer 6 months apart.
Oh my God. Oh my
And
God.
yeah, and going through that 5 years of treatment and coming out the other end, I just thought, you know what? I'm just done chasing. I'm done chasing approval, external validation, whatever. I'm just done, right? I did it all. I did all the right things, and it got me two cancer diagnoses within 6 months, right? So, and so now I just try to do everything from a place of purpose and pure of heart, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it doesn't really even matter.
Isn't age a beautiful thing? Just
Oh
listening
my
to
God.
that story. Like, I am so grateful I'm going to be 50 this year.
Mhm. Are
And
you? Wow, congratulations.
yeah, thanks. Yeah. And I just feel like, I don't know, I interviewed Halle Berry a couple
Mhm.
months ago and she
Oh,
said
wow.
something like, yeah, she said something like, because she's into like menopause. She's starting like a
Right. Yeah.
menopause business and she was just talking about being at this certain age and just kind of, she said, and we have zero fucks to give.
Right.
And, and I just, that sunk it, like zero fucks to give. That is my mantra for 2025.
Yeah.
It's just a beautiful place to be in life that, you know, if I'm not for you,
Hmm.
that's cool.
Right,
If you're
exactly.
not
You
for
can't,
me, that's cool.
yeah,
Like,
you
I
don't need
don't
to be for
worry anymore
everybody.
about what people think or
Hmm.
pleasing people or,
Right.
like those two cancer diagnoses
Mhm.
that like that's, that puts things in stark relief.
Right, right. You'll have to sometime for fun go on, I think it's on Amazon that you find it, but they sell these little jars that are called fucks to give, right? And that, it's the cutest thing. I've given it as a gift a few times, but it's like my girls are 30 and 29. And I tell them all the time, I was like, look, my 30s were better than my 20s. My 40s were better than my 30s. My 50s were better than my 40s, with the exception of the cancer. Um,
Right.
I said, and so far, my 60s are better than my 50s, right? So, it just gets better. And what I love is that just few things bother me,
Yeah,
right? And it,
truly.
well, if you've been through something like what I've been through, what you've been through, you just have a different kind of perspective,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, yeah, I'm just not going to worry about this. I'm not going to worry about the stuff I can't control.
Yeah.
I'm just going to worry about what I can control and what matters to me and what energy I'm carrying around every day.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you hope for your speaking business?
Wow. So you know, I'm gonna start, just kind of like I'm so grateful for this opportunity, by the way, because it's like it's fun to just start to hear my voice, to
Right.
start
Uh-huh.
hearing my story and start,
Yeah.
listening to myself explain things. So I know that like my first few speaking gigs are gonna, but eventually I would like to be like doing it full time.
Right.
That's my goal. And I know
Mhm.
it's not going to be, maybe this year, but
Right.
next year,
Mhm.
building. But it's exciting. Like I vowed after my last experience that I would never work for someone else. Like I
Yeah.
just want to make my own living on my own terms.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
if I can pull that off, then I'm
Yeah.
pretty happy.
Yeah. What I would say, because the speaking business can be lumpy, right? You can speak 12 times one year, 3 times the next year.
Yeah.
And just know that it's not you, it's just the speaking industry is lumpy, right?
Okay.
And it may not be lumpy for you. I mean, for most people, it is. It's those highs and those lows, but don't let those steal your self-belief. Uh,
Okay.
and when when we all get together, in Impact 11, and everybody's sharing their wins, and you don't have the wins, it's easy to, and it happens kind of subtly, but it's easy to move from being happy for everybody else to feeling badly about yourself because you're not having that same success, right?
Yeah.
And so just know that the business is different for everybody, right? And just because one person's taking off, that it doesn't mean that you won't. Right?
Yeah.
You will in your time. And one of the things I love about the group is, they don't live on an attitude of, or operate on an attitude of scarcity.
Hmm.
They operate on an attitude of abundance, which is something
Yeah.
I've always operated in, and I think that makes the biggest difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and don't the one I would say the one thing I did is that I sort of regret, and I'm trying to change it, is I didn't speak for free for people. It was like, you pay my fee or I don't speak. I've got 33 years as, in corporate, 25 as an executive, 20 as a C-suite executive. So when I speak, you're getting all of that experience. So I'm not
Yeah.
speak for free. I wish I had not done that. And I wish I had, particularly things that are local, I wish I had spoken for free more often because it helps you get the reps in, right? It helps you figure out what works and what doesn't, and when do people respond to you and when don't they? And so you kind of see it as a practice in front of an audience, and you deliver your best, but they're not like going to be so harsh on you because they're not paying you. And so I think the reps are important. And so I'm into my third year now of speaking, and I made a commitment um, that I am going to speak for free in certain like nonprofit environments or at churches
Yeah.
or something like that, because
Yeah.
I want to get the reps in, and I also want to feed my soul, and speaking feeds my soul. So, you know,
Yeah.
so where you have that, when you have that opportunity and it's right for you, don't be afraid to do that.
I would love to see you speak. Do you have a speaking reel that I can look at? Do you have a,
Yeah, I can send you my speaking grill.
please do.
It's the first one that I ever had, so I'm not doing a lot of speaking. It's really more on my backstory,
Hmm.
but I'll send that to you. And I have a TEDx talk that I will send to you. It was not hugely popular, but you only hear
Okay.
about the ones that got, a million hits, right?
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I'll send it to you, but I will tell you when you listen to it at like 1.5 speed.
Okay.
Because it's slow. It's slow. So I always tell
That's
people
funny.
speed it up because, it's long and I don't even think my husband's watched it from beginning to end.
So funny. Oh, I'll watch it.
Mhm.
Do you follow Mel Robbins? Do
Um,
you?
I do somewhat. I don't follow her a lot because she feels very commercial to me now.
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
it felt very authentic in the beginning, and
yeah,
now she feels a little commercial. Whereas I think like Brene Brown doesn't feel as commercial to me. She still seems
yeah.
authentic. Mhm.
That's a good point of view. Yeah. I only mentioned because she just came out with a book,
Mhm.
and it just came across my social.
Uh-huh.
Oprah, she was on Oprah's podcast, and Oprah
Okay.
was like bananas about the book.
Mhm.
So I'm curious now. It's
Oh,
called
I'll have to look it up and
yeah, I kind of blew it. I saw it and I kind of blew it
uh,
off like whatever, like a self.
right.
But Oprah's endorsement on was like
Yes.
incredible. She was
Uh,
like, "This is one of the great self-help books." And the
right.
title of it is Let Them, which is kind of something I've been working on myself, like, let them do their thing. It has nothing to
Right.
do with you. But anyway, I'm just curious if you'd heard of it because
Yeah.
I don't
No.
I don't want to pay much. Like I'll read it when it comes out at the library, but I'm
Right. Yeah, I buy everything on my Kindle, so
yeah, yeah,
and that so maybe I'll look at that. I have some other books that I'm trying to get through. I feel so badly because so many friends write books, and it's like I can't possibly read all of your books.
yeah,
So I try to read the serious ones versus the people who just write, a quick 100-page book because they think it's going to help them with their speaking. And it may,
right,
what do I know?
right,
But
right.
I try to read the books that have some substance to them.
Yeah, agree,
Right.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are great. So, do you, I jumped right into our conversation. Do you have any
Yeah.
questions about what I'm doing, or can I answer anything for
No,
you?
this is wonderful. I would love to just stay in touch with you
Oh,
and
absolutely. And do you go
um
Anne Marie or
Anne
just Anne
Marie.
Marie?
Yeah.
Yeah.